Archaeologists say writings on an ancient tablet confirmed there was a global flood and an ark that carried animals.
Get ready to be shocked as we reveal the discovery of a lifetime. A groundbreaking claim has surfaced that might turn a legendary story into reality. Researchers have claimed the discovery of the real Noah's Ark, a ship mentioned in numerous religious texts, believed to have saved a pair of every animal species from a catastrophic flood. This claim centers around a site in Turkey, sending shockwaves worldwide.
Robert Ballard, who found the Titanic shipwreck in 1985, believes that there is evidence of a massive flood about 7,000 years ago, which is when the Bible situates Noah's story.
Could this really be the ancient vessel spoken of for centuries? And what implication does this find have for archaeology and our understanding of history? Let's get started. According to the Bible, the construction of Noah's Ark was an operation of ancient engineering. It was commanded by God to be able to withstand a global flood. The ark's dimensions were considerably solid, measuring 300 cubits in length, 50 cubits in width, and 30 cubits in height. A cubit is an ancient unit of measurement and is generally accepted to be around 18 inches or 1.5 feet. By this estimation, the ark would have been an impressive 450 feet in length, making it one of the largest wooden structures of its time. Now that archaeologists claim they have found the real Noah's Ark, we can see how it appears to modern humans. To visualize, this is a similar size to a modern 15-story building laid on its side, stretching across 1.5 football fields. However, critics argue that the lack of concrete archaeological evidence undermines claims of finding the Ark. Despite numerous expeditions, particularly to Mount Ararat, no definitive proof has emerged to satisfy scientific standards. The Ark's description in religious texts as a massive wooden structure surviving a catastrophic flood further fuels skepticism, as such a vessel's preservation over millennia seems implausible. Many also point to the story's parallels in different cultures, suggesting a shared mythical archetype rather than a historical event. The Epic of Gilgamesh, for instance, presents a similar flood story, leading some to believe that these narratives are symbolic rather than literal. Geological studies, while confirming the occurrence of large floods in ancient times, have not directly linked these events to the biblical account. The absence of any remnants that can be definitively attributed to the Ark, combined with the challenging terrain of proposed locations like Mount Ararat, further complicates the search. This skepticism is not just from the scientific community, but also from theologians and historians who caution against literal interpretations of religious texts. They argue that such narratives may hold more significant metaphorical or moral truths rather than historical facts. As such, the search for Noah's Ark remains a contentious blend of faith, folklore, and science, with skepticism playing a critical role in the ongoing debate. As mentioned in the scriptures, the Ark's huge structure was carefully sectioned into rooms and areas, all of which were crafted from gopher wood. These compartments were scattered along 3 decks and were essential for accommodating a great number of animals, ranging from the biggest of creatures to the smallest insects. In accordance with the Bible, animals were brought in pairs, one male and one female, to ensure their continued existence after the flood. This conservation effort is one of the earliest instances of a sanctuary or refuge for species in literary history. Beyond housing for animals, the Ark also provided shelter to Noah and his immediate family, including his wife, 3 sons, and their wives as well. These 8 individuals were entrusted with the care of thousands of animals. Not only that, they were also responsible for the maintenance of the Ark over an extended period. The exact routines, shifts, and methods they used remain a mystery. but their key role in the survival of the ark's inhabitants is clear from the text. Provisions were another key element of the ark's preparation. The Bible mentions God's directive to Noah to store food for both humans and animals. Figuring out what kind of food to bring, how much of it, where to keep it, and how to hand it out must have been a huge task. The Bible doesn't spell out exactly what food they had, how they kept it fresh, or how they stored it. However, it is clear that making sure everyone on the ark had enough to eat was really important. One of the most symbolic features of the ark's design was its single door, positioned presumably on the side. This door served as the sole entrance and exit. All the animals, Noah's family, and the provisions had to pass through this. Once everyone and everything was on board, this door was shut, sealing the ark's inhabitants from the deluge. But what was the extent of these floods? In the tale of Noah's Ark, one of the most dramatic chapters is the Great Deluge. This was no ordinary rainstorm. Rather, it was a flood of biblical proportions. For 40 days and 40 nights, rain poured down in torrents, covering the earth, and even the highest mountains disappeared under the rising waters. The image painted in the scriptures shows a world completely submerged, a kind of ancient apocalypse. During this time, Noah's Ark was both a shelter and a sanctuary. The massive vessel, home to Noah, his family, and pairs of all living creatures, was tossed and turned by the power of the floodwaters. But inside, life continued in a strange floating world. The Bible recounts that the waters prevailed upon the earth for 150 days. That's about 5 months of the ark, this makeshift world, bobbing on the endless ocean that our planet had become. When the water levels finally began to come down, the ark found its resting place on the mountains of Ararat. These mountains, now part of modern-day Turkey, hold a special place in the story of the ark. They are a geographical location that was a symbol of hope and a new beginning. The ark's arrival and eventual grounding on these mountains marked the end of its extraordinary voyage. After the flood, it wasn't an immediate return to dry land. Noah and his companions had to wait for the earth to dry. This wasn't a matter of days, but months. The Bible describes a period of more than a year from the start of the flood to the moment God instructed Noah to leave the ark. This story, passed down through generations, has been a symbol of faith, survival, and the resilience of life. For centuries, the quest to find physical traces of the ark has fascinated archaeologists, historians, and religious experts alike. With their snow-capped peaks and rugged terrain, the mountains of Ararat continue to hold secrets of the past that we are still eager to uncover. This is why the quest to locate Noah's Ark has captivated people for centuries and has sparked numerous theories and expeditions. One of the most intriguing aspects of this search is the comparison with similar flood narratives from different cultures, particularly the Epic of Gilgamesh. This ancient Mesopotamian poem is one of the oldest known works of literature, and it contains a flood story very similar to the biblical account of Noah. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the character Utnapishtim is warned of a catastrophic flood meant to destroy humanity. Like Noah, he is instructed to build a boat to save himself, his family, and a collection of animals. The description of Utnapishtim's boat, however, differs from Noah's Ark. It is portrayed as a massive cube measuring 120 cubits on each side and consisting of 6 decks, diverging from the Ark's shape as described in the Bible. In a tragic parallel, both Utnapishtim and Noah release birds to check if the floodwaters have started to calm down. Utnapishtim sends out a dove, a swallow, and a raven, while Noah releases a raven, followed by a dove. The return of the birds with signs of land symbolizes hope, and the possibility of life's renewal. The way these stories come together in describing the Great Flood gives us some really intriguing hints about where these famous boats might have ended up. The Epic of Gilgamesh suggests that Utnapishtim's boat stopped on the mountain of Nasir. This location is thought to be somewhere in modern Iraq or Iran. On the other hand, the Bible states that Noah's Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, a region in eastern Turkey. People have always been drawn to Mount Ararat because of its strong ties to the Ark story, both from old tales and recent findings. Even though there's no solid proof yet, the thrill of possibly finding such a famous piece of history keeps adventurers and scientists on the hunt. Looking for Noah's Ark is like a mix of faith, mythology, and archaeology. It's about connecting ancient stories with modern-day scientific inquiry. And as we keep searching, we're getting closer to the secrets of long ago, where the lines between myths and real history blur. The searches and fascination for the Ark have led to many theories about its final resting place. Mount Nasir presents an intriguing possibility, but Mount Ararat has been the more popular focus. The expeditions to these mountains have ranged from casual treks to more systematic explorations, using advanced technology to scan and survey the mountain. Despite the enthusiasm and dedication of these explorers, definitive proof of the Ark's existence on Mount Ararat remains hidden. But we can't forget, these expeditions are just a walk in the park. They can have pretty challenging problems. The geographical terrain of both Mount Nasir and Mount Ararat is intimidating. With harsh weather conditions, unpredictable landscapes, and political instability in the region, explorations are difficult. Moreover, the passage of time has likely taken its toll on any wooden structure that might have survived, subjecting it to decay, snow, ice, landslides, and other natural processes. The lack of solid archaeological evidence has also been a major hurdle. While various artifacts and anomalies have been reported, none have provided irrefutable proof of the Ark's existence. This has led to a continuous debate among scholars, archaeologists, and theologians about the authenticity and accuracy of these findings. Despite these challenges, the mysteries of Noah's Ark remain a source of fascination. However, history is full of accounts from people who may have actually found the remnants. One of the earliest accounts comes from Flavius Josephus, a 1st-century Jewish historian. In his monumental work, Antiquities of the Jews, he wrote that remnants of the Ark were believed to be still present in the mountains of Armenia, likely referring to the broader region of Ararat. That's not all. Marco Polo, the famed Venetian explorer of the 13th century, also made references to the Ark in his travels. While journeying through Armenia, he heard locals speak of a great mountain where the Ark came to rest. These tales added another layer of intrigue to the Ark's legend. Another account, the Odessa image, emerging in the 6th century, presented a great clue. This artifact, associated with King Abgar-Fiv of Odessa, contained depictions that some believed represented Noah's Ark. This connection extends far beyond the Ararat region, reaching into the depths of ancient Mesopotamia. This new development adds even more intrigue to the mystery of the Ark. But it doesn't end there. Others wrote about the Ark being visible atop Mount Ararat during certain seasons. These accounts and similar ones from other historians reinforce the belief in the Ark's physical presence. The Nestorian and Jacobite Christian sects contributed their own intriguing narratives. Nestorian missionaries in the 9th century claimed to have seen the Ark's remains on Mount Ararat. Similarly, in the 13th century, Jacobite Christians alleged that one of their monks witnessed the Ark's remnants. A significant milestone was the creation of the first world map to depict Noah's Ark's location by the Ottoman geographer Piri Reis in the 16th century. This map pinpointed the Ark's location in the Ararat region, fueling further explorations. Although these accounts may be believable, they still have no evidence to present. However, the search for Noah's Ark took a dramatic turn in the late 1950s when a NATO personnel, Durupinar, discovered a peculiar boat-shaped formation in Turkey. Situated near the Doğu Bayazıt province, close to Mount Ararat, this formation wasn't a mere geological anomaly. Its dimensions, approximately 500 feet in length, were too similar to the biblical description of Noah's Ark. This discovery, supported by aerial photographs, sparked a global phenomenon, making many wonder if this could indeed be the final resting place of the Ark. Later on, in the early 1960s, following Durupinar discovery, a team from the United States, led by Dr. Arthur Brandenberger of Ohio State University, went on a detailed investigation. They employed advanced imaging technology to examine the site. The symmetry of the structure and its striking resemblance to a ship's shape intensified the discussions. The site's topographical features seemed to add credibility to the claim that this could be a petrified structure of ancient origin. But it didn't stop there. Ron Wyatt, an American explorer, took a particular interest in the site in the 1970s and 1980s. He conducted multiple expeditions using tools like metal detectors and subsurface radar. Wyatt and his team identified several anomalies that hinted at man-made structures beneath the surface. One of the most compelling findings was the presence of drogue stones near the formation. These massive stones, with holes carved at the top, matched ancient descriptions of stones used to stabilize ships in turbulent waters. Their proximity to the Durupinar site further fueled the narrative that this could be the Ark's final resting place. The significance of drogue stones lies in their alignment with ancient maritime practices, suggesting that the formation could be more than a natural occurrence. The discovery of these stones painted a picture of a ship designed for rough seas, much like the biblical Ark. The investigations and discoveries at the site bridged modern technology with ancient narratives, bringing a new dimension to the Ark's search. The site at Durupinar remains a focal point for enthusiasts, archaeologists, and theologians, each drawn by the prospect of unraveling one of history's greatest mysteries. But we must ask ourselves, even if there's no trace of the boat, wouldn't there be some geographical evidence of the floods? In the 1990s, geologists William Ryan and Walter Pittman embarked on a groundbreaking quest that would potentially tie a massive ancient flood to the biblical narrative of Noah's Ark. Their focus was the Black Sea, a unique body of water whose secrets they aimed to unravel using state-of-the-art marine technology. What they uncovered was evidence of a drastic and swift change in salinity levels in the seafloor's sedimentary layers. This shift indicated a massive influx of fresh water into a previously saltwater lake, turning it into a sea. Ryan and Pittman's methods were thorough. They examined geological data to detect signs of erosion, deposition, and salinization caused by the inflow of seawater. They measured the age of organic materials in the sediments through radiocarbon dating, such as shells, wood, and bones. Furthermore, they extracted sediment cores from the sea floor, revealing the stratigraphy and composition of the basin over millennia. Their findings were then compared with historical accounts from various cultures, including the Sumerians, Babylonians, Greeks, and Romans, all of which described similar flood events in their myths and legends. The duo theorized that rising waters breached a natural dam at the Bosphorus Strait as the last ice age waned and glaciers melted. This event caused fresh water from the Mediterranean to pour violently into the then freshwater lake, leading to an apocalyptic flood that increased the Black Sea's size by over 30%, submerging land areas and likely causing massive displacements of ancient civilizations. Ryan and Pittman's findings didn't just suggest a catastrophic flood. Their data also aligned with the timeline of various flood myths from diverse ancient civilizations. This correlation led to speculation that this flood might have been the event that inspired the tale of Noah's Ark, among other legends. The geological investigations revealed more than just sedimentary layers. Underwater explorations uncovered remnants of ancient structures and tools, indicative of human habitation now submerged beneath the Black Sea's depths. The research opened up a store of questions and possibilities for historians, archaeologists, and theologians alike, reinvigorating interest in the region and its ties to legendary tales. Their work highlights the potential historical significance of submerged settlements in the Black Sea, bridging ancient myths with geological realities. While the search for Noah's Ark has often centered on Mount Ararat, other locations have also commanded attention. Among these are the Zagros Mountains and the Pamir Mountains, each presenting unique theories about the Ark's resting place. The Zagros Mountains, stretching from western Iran to eastern Iraq and southern Turkey, offer a unique alternative to Mount Ararat. Several factors support this theory. Firstly, some geologists believe Mount Ararat, a volcanic mountain, did not exist until after the flood, making it an unlikely resting place for the Ark. The Zagros Mountains, in contrast, are closer to Mesopotamia, where Noah's descendants are said to have migrated after the flood, according to Genesis 10 and 11. Moreover, the Zagros Mountains have peaks higher than 15 cubits, about 22 feet, the minimum height reached by the floodwaters, according to Genesis 7:20. This region is also more accessible than the summit of Mount Ararat, which is difficult to explore due to its covering of ice and rock. Additionally, the Zagros Mountains have been associated with Noah among the local people for centuries. Specific mountains within this range, such as Mount Judi or Quadu in northern Iraq, Mount Pir Omar Gudrun in southern Iraq, or Mount Lubar in southwestern Iran, have been mentioned in historical records and linguistic analyses as potential landing sites for the Ark. Another proposed location is the Pamir Mountains, a vast and rugged range spanning across Central Asia, known as the Roof of the World due to their high elevation. Some biblical scholars and explorers suggest these mountains as the true resting place of Noah's Ark, as mentioned in Genesis 8:4. The Pamir Mountains are located at the junction of several major mountain ranges, such as the Tian Shan, Karakoram, Kunlun, Hindu Kush, and the Himalayas, making them potentially accessible by water during the flood. The region has a rich history of civilizations and cultures, including the Sumerians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Mongols, and Turks, many of whom have their own versions of the flood myth. This suggests a common origin or memory of a historical event. The Pamir Mountains are also home to diverse and unique flora and fauna, which could indicate preservation by the Ark or evolution from the animals that emerged from it. However, finding Noah's Ark in the Pamir Mountains is challenging. Most claims of discoveries or sightings have been based on vague sources, such as ancient legends or local folklore. Despite these challenges, some believe that Noah's Ark might be preserved under ice or snow, or buried under rock and soil in the Pamir Mountains, with many unexplored areas that could hold clues or secrets. With the help of advanced technology and advanced skills, scientists and researchers still hope to uncover the great Ark of Noah. Despite the skepticism from people around the world, and even historians, there are few researchers that have stayed on course for this discovery. Thanks for exploring with us on Beyond Discovery. If you enjoyed these revelations, click now on the next video that pops up on your screen. It's unbelievable.